on today because there have been some updates with PPP. Surprise, surprise, right? It's been like the never-ending year of updates. But this time, as in maybe previous times, it is actually super beneficial for small business owners. So if you haven't heard, starting yesterday, they opened up that only businesses with under 20 employees can apply for PPP for the next 2 weeks. And the reason why they did that and they closed application for bigger businesses is because they wanted to specifically focus on making sure that small businesses and micro businesses got the help and assistance that they needed to be able to apply for PPP, which is a really beneficial resource right now for small businesses because it's not taxable, it's forgivable. So if it's forgiven, it's not taxable. And, it can infuse some much needed cash flow into your business if you had a net income or if you had employees during 2019 or the first part of 2020. So you do need to be in business prior to February 15th, as you've probably heard already. But this update allowed for that. And there have been additional changes with that. One is that it was restricting people who had non-fraud they had felonies. So they're excluding that and allowing any non-fraud related felonies to be able to apply for that. The other big thing that they did was people who were delinquent on their student loans were not able to apply. They've kind of waived that for this period as well. And there's potentially some additional changes coming through on Monday as well. That can be really impactful as well, because up until this point, if you were a solopreneur or a single member LLC or a contractor and you were operating at a loss for 2019, you had a loss on your taxes in 2019, you weren't able to apply for PPP. So that is maybe going to be changing, and I say maybe because it hasn't passed quite yet. But if they do, then they're going to allow you to use line 7, which is actually going to be your gross receipts as opposed to your net income. So that's really huge, because if you didn't have an income in 2019 to be able to use for that, you weren't eligible to apply for any kind of assistance. And so that's big change that might be coming through. So those are some things to consider. There's a lot that's still, moving and growing around when it comes to COVID and the relief options and the lending. If you didn't go for a PPP round 1 before, you're able to apply now. And then in addition to that, you may also be eligible to apply for round 2. So just to reiterate and remind everybody about what that looks like. If you want to apply for PPP round 2 and you already received round 1, you have to make sure that you had a 25% or more reduction in a quarter of 2020 compared to the same quarter in 2019. And that could be for quarter 2, quarter 3, or quarter 4. They are calendar quarters, and you do have to make sure that you can show that reduction in order to apply, but that is an option as well. And if you were a restaurant, food service business, you may be able to take 3.5 times that monthly amount as opposed to 2.5 times, which can provide you with a much bigger amount as well. So some things to kind of note. There's a lot of things everywhere, and the other side of that is going to be making sure that you have proper documentation for all of this, because they're going to be auditing. I can't stress that enough. So making sure that you have proper documentation, you're using the funds for the right things, is going to be really important as we continue to grow and evolve from this. The good news is that we can help you with that. We are doing COVID consulting. We are doing the COVID consulting, the applying, the forgiveness, all of that kind of fun stuff, as well as keeping our ear to the ground for any additional changes or opportunities that are out there. So if you are interested in having us do that for you, please let me know. You can text consult to 414-310-7689 to book a time where we can talk about what that's going to look like for you and what you're going to need. There's a link for a COVID webinar video that we did as well. Still reach out regardless of whether you get through that video or not, because it's going to be important to be able to look at what that looks like for you. All right. Sounds good. I will talk to everybody later. Thanks for watching.